What if everything you thought you knew about money was quietly working against you? Not your income, not your investment strategy, your mind. Right now, your brain is running hidden programs around money that are costing you thousands, possibly tens of thousands, without you ever noticing. And by the end of this video, you are going to walk away with a completely new understanding of why you make the financial decisions you do, how to identify the psychological traps that are sabotaging your wealth, and exactly what to shift in your thinking to start building real, lasting financial security. This is not a video about budgeting apps or hot stocks. This is about the mental game of money, and once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Let us start with something that sounds almost offensive. You think you are logical. You genuinely believe that when you make a financial decision, you are being rational. But here is the truth. Two people can look at the exact same investment, the same data, the same numbers, and arrive at completely opposite conclusions. One buys, one sells, and neither of them is crazy. They are just playing entirely different games, shaped by completely different life experiences. Someone who came of age financially during the 2008 crash will look at the stock market with a kind of bone-deep fear that someone who rode the crypto wave of 2021 simply does not share. Same world, radically different lenses. Your financial worldview is not objective. It is a product of every economic moment you have personally lived through, and that tiny sliver of personal history is shaping nearly every money decision you make. The first step to financial mastery is accepting that your brain is not a neutral calculator. It is a deeply personal, story-driven machine. Which brings us to the second trap. You believe you are in control. We desperately want to think that success is a direct reward for effort and failure is a punishment for poor choices. But consider this. Bill Gates happened to attend one of the only high schools in America that had a computer during the early 1970s. That accidental access gave him years of practice before most people had even touched a keyboard. It was extraordinary luck, and it changed the entire trajectory of his life. His close friend and intellectual equal, Kent Evans, died in a mountaineering accident before finishing high school. Two equally brilliant people, two wildly different outcomes, neither fully in their control. You can do everything right and still lose. You can make mistakes and still win. This is not a reason to stop trying. It is a reason to hold success and failure with a little more humility, because you never see the full equation. And then there is the story trap. Our brains love a compelling narrative far more than they love statistics. Someone hears about a person who won a massive lottery jackpot, and suddenly buying a ticket feels almost strategic. Never mind the astronomical odds. The story feels real, feels possible, feels like it could be you on that yacht. We do not picture the millions of people who lost. We picture the winner. This same mechanism drove the crypto frenzy of late 2021. Thousands of tokens launched with no utility, no purpose, no roadmap, just a name, a price, and a dream sold by influencers with flashy lives. People were not buying the math, they were buying the feeling. By 2022, billions were gone. The warning signs were always there, but the story felt too good to question. Always ask yourself when a financial idea excites you, am I responding to data or am I responding to desire? Here is a quick but important pause. If you find this kind of deep dive content genuinely useful, please subscribe to this channel, because we regularly break down the psychology behind success, money, and human behavior in ways that actually change how you think and act. It is the kind of content that compounds over time, just like a good investment. Hit subscribe and stay in the loop. Now, the fourth trap is subtle but devastating. You treat yourself like a spreadsheet. You build the perfect financial plan, optimized, rational, data-backed. But spreadsheets do not panic when the market drops 30%. You do. Spreadsheets do not scroll social media at midnight and feel suddenly behind. You do. A plan that looks perfect on paper but ignores your emotional reality is a plan that will not survive contact with real life. Aiming to be mostly reasonable rather than coldly rational is actually a more effective long-term strategy, because reasonable is sustainable, and sustainability is exactly what builds wealth. The stock market has historically delivered positive returns 68% of years over 1 year, 88% over 10 years, and essentially 100% over 20 years. But none of those numbers matter if you panic and abandon the strategy halfway through. This is where we have to talk about chasing more than enough. Most people do not wreck their finances through ignorance. They wreck them through a relentless, unacknowledged hunger for more status, more admiration, more proof that they have arrived. In 2021, a 29-year-old named Sam Bankman-Fried was worth over $20 billion and ran one of the largest crypto exchanges in the world. The media called him the next Warren Buffett, and yet he was quietly misusing customer funds, not out of desperation, but out of an insatiable drive for more control, more power, more recognition. The concept of enough simply did not exist in his vocabulary. His empire collapsed overnight. Billions were lost. He ended up arrested and alone. The tragedy is not just his. It is a mirror for all of us, because comparison has no ceiling. Napoleon envied Caesar. Caesar envied Alexander. Alexander apparently envied a mythological hero who was not even real. The game never ends unless you decide to stop playing. Define what enough looks like for you. Draw that line deliberately. Then protect it fiercely, because peace of mind is the most powerful form of wealth there is. Now this connects directly to a trap that is everywhere in modern life. The belief that expensive things will make people admire you. Here is a humbling insight. When someone sees a Ferrari on the street, their first thought is not about the driver at all. It is about themselves behind the wheel. They are not admiring you. They are projecting their own desires. We buy luxury goods to impress people who are too busy imagining themselves in those same items to actually notice us. True wealth is invisible. It is the money you did not spend on the car upgrade, the lifestyle you deliberately chose not to inflate, the investments quietly compounding while nobody is watching or applauding. Building wealth is silent. Maintaining appearances is loud. And most bad financial decisions come from prioritizing the loud thing over the silent one. Speaking of silence, there is a trap around pessimism that sounds like wisdom but is actually just fear wearing a suit. A market crash headline feels urgent, smart, important. A projection of slow, steady growth over 20 years feels boring. But setbacks happen fast and loud, while progress happens slowly and quietly. That is why doom and gloom always sounds more sophisticated than optimism. Real optimism is not naive. It is expecting setbacks and still believing in long-term growth. It means zooming out from days to decades, where the real story becomes clear. Progress compounding. Innovation, steady, and unstoppable. One of the most underrated truths in personal finance is that saving does not actually need a specific goal to be powerful. Savings create options. They let you wait. They let you pivot. They let you say no when everyone else is stuck saying yes. The gap between your ego and your income is the real predictor of financial health. A lawyer earning $250,000 a year, but spending every cent on the Porsche, private school, and restaurant dinners has nothing. One job loss and everything collapses. The reward of genuine savings is not a number on a screen. It is freedom and flexibility when life inevitably changes direction. And this matters because investing has a hidden price tag that does not appear on any statement. The cost is emotional. It is the gut punch of watching your portfolio fall. The stress, the doubt, the sleepless nights. Market volatility is not a punishment. It is the entry fee. Netflix returned over 35,000% between 2002 and 2018, but spent 94% of that time trading below its previous all-time high. To collect the gains, you had to survive the discomfort. Most people try to avoid that cost. They time the market, jump in and out, chase quick wins. And in avoiding the short-term pain, they often pay far more in the long run through missed growth and costly mistakes. Getting rich and staying rich require completely different skills. Getting there takes boldness and optimism. Staying there takes caution, humility, and the willingness to build systems that survive when everything goes wrong, not just when everything goes right. The best financial plans are not perfect, they are resilient. And here is the thing about compounding that most people genuinely cannot internalize. Warren Buffett is worth around $160 billion, and more than 97% of that fortune accumulated after his 65th birthday. He did not get there by chasing the biggest returns. He got there by starting early and refusing to stop. Time, not talent, is the most powerful force in wealth building. This is also exactly why this is the right moment to tell you about something that addresses not just your financial mindset, but every area of your life that needs to compound. If you have been reading the books, listening to the podcasts, and still feel like you are not actually moving forward, here is the uncomfortable truth. It is not a lack of effort. It is a lack of a complete, integrated system. The Self-Mastery Bundle is the all-in-one blueprint that fills that gap. It addresses your mindset, your habits, your productivity, and your sense of purpose all at once. With 30 comprehensive guides and over 210 interactive tools designed to work together as one cohesive path. Going from self-doubt to unshakable confidence, from scattered to deeply focused, from busy to genuinely purposeful. Right now, it is available at a special launch price, and you can find all the details in the description below. Now, most of us build financial and life plans for who we are today, completely forgetting that who we are will change dramatically. Psychologists call this the end of history illusion. We recognize clearly how much we changed in the past, but we systematically underestimate how much we will continue to change. The priorities you hold today may be unrecognizable in a decade. Build flexibility into everything. Moderation is not mediocrity. It is the architecture of a plan that can survive the person you are still becoming. And finally, know what game you are actually playing. The financial world is full of people with different goals, timelines, risk tolerances, and motivations. A day trader and a long-term retirement investor can look at the same moment in the market and make opposite moves, and both be completely correct for their situation. Copying someone else's strategy without understanding their game is one of the fastest ways to lose money. Before you follow any financial advice, ask one question: does this actually fit the game I am playing? That is the psychology of money laid bare. Not the strategies, the mind behind the strategies. Because the numbers are the easy part. Your relationship with money, your biases, your emotions, your definitions of enough, those are the variables that actually determine your outcome. And speaking of what drives outcomes, you are going to want to watch the next video on your screen right now. It is about the psychology of people who are too aware. You should watch it, because this kind of deep self-awareness is a double-edged sword, and understanding exactly how it works in your mind will change the way you see yourself and every decision you make. Click it now.